So this video is going to be all about setting up your AET account for a research SAE type. So once you've logged in, again, this should be your name up here. If it's not, talk to your AET teacher. But otherwise, we're going to go to Profile, Your Activities, and Experience Manager. So what you're going to be doing now is you're going to be hitting Add New. And you're going to put in whatever it is that you're researching. Ideally, this is what you would title your paper, would have as your running head. For the sake of this example, I am going to keep it very simple and say testing germination rates in corn. Okay, I'm doing this on my own. I'm not volunteering or doing it through the school. This is in agri-science, research, and experimental. And then I get to choose an area. So because my research is on corn germination, that is going to fall under plant systems. And then corn would qualify as a grain crop. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And now I'm going to go ahead and notice that there is a red X here and a red X here. What that means is I have not set up my planning for this event, for this research SAE. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the pencil. And what I can do is I can copy and paste from this box and then fill in the blanks. Or what I could do is just go through and see what questions they're asking and put in my own information. So I want to say why I'm interested in doing this project. What are my expected start and completion for this test that I'm doing? What are my goals with doing this experiment? Who is observing me do this experiment? And then what am I doing in areas of safety? So what am I doing to make sure that I'm being safe when testing corn germination? In the time investment tab, we do the same thing. However, these questions are going to be related to our time. So weekly, well, how much time are we committing? What are we doing with our time? What are some important dates or events? How does this relate to our career path, et cetera, et cetera. Notice that this one includes this first sentence that says, my research project will involve blank time to review others' previous researchers' work. That is a hugely important piece to consider because in order to conduct a thorough investigation, you need to understand what has been done before and what hypotheses have been tested or proven. And so that is important to mention when you're doing this part of your planning process. Our next tab is about financial investment. In some way, shape, or form, you may have to be using money in order to create, buy, or have something available for your testing. So whether that funding is coming from school, your parents, you have a sponsor, or you get a grant from National FFA, those would be examples of how you're getting funding and what you expect your expenses to be about. So for me, like corn seed would be an example of what I would have to purchase. If I am using anything for dyeing the seeds, so I can look at them on a slide, for a microscope, for anything. Like those are examples of expenses I would have. And they can be broken down into non-current and current items, right? So those current items, corn seed. Okay, I'm not using that again year to year. Once it's used, it's used. However, if I need to buy a microscope, that would be a non-current item because I can use that every year. Learning objectives, this is the part where we are choosing at least 3 skills that we plan to accomplish in doing this research. So what you do is you go ahead and hit this green check mark, and it's going to immediately pop up with the plant systems area highlighted because that's what you set your SAE for. However, you are able to still go into all of these areas and pick something else. But I want to make sure I have some skills related to germination testing. So what I'm going to go look at is determining the influence of environmental factors on plant growth. That would be important to know. And then after looking at this, maybe I'm like, well, I want some more like sciencey ones. So then biotechnology is where I'm going to want to go. And then I'm going to look and see if any of these feel correct in what I'm testing. Okay, so maybe I need to be able to read, document, evaluate, and secure accurate lab records of experimental protocols, observations, and results. So Simplify. I need to be able to look at documents about experimental observations and results and understand what they mean. Absolutely, I do. Okay. Maybe I need to make sure that I am being safe in the lab when it comes to sterilization and maintenance of equipment. So I could add that as well. Once I have 3, I can hit save and go back, or I could choose to stick around and do more. That's perfectly fine. Once you go back here, it pulls up the skill over here. And now what you need to do is hit this box and type in, how are you going to do this? So how am I going to do this skill? All right, so here you are making kind of like a hypothesis. You're saying, if I do this, then I will know how to do this skill. Okay, so while I'm testing corn germination rates, how am I going to practice this skill? And that's what I'm typing in the box. Once I have all the boxes filled out, I'm going to hit this e-signatures tab. And this is where I need to get signatures to start moving forward with my SAE. This one is for your student to sign. So as a student, you would type in your name and hit submit signature. Your teacher would go in and do the same, and then a parent would as well. Your parent's signatures needed to say, like, yes, I'm aware of what my student is doing and I support them in what they are. The teacher signs to say, yes, the student has done proper planning and is prepared to take this on. And the student signs to say that everything is truthful and I want to make this happen. Once you've done all that, you hit save all and return. When you have all your signatures, that is when this box will turn green right here. But until then, I got a little X. All right, so when it comes to testing corn germination rates, there are some things I'm going to have to purchase. And that's what this guy's all about. He is setting our budget. Like, what do we think we're going to spend money on? Okay, again, we're just planning right now. So I'm going to hit him. And what it does is it pulls up all of these different areas for income and expenses. And what I need to do is go look at them and say, hey, do I think I'm going to make money from crop and forage sales? If so, how much money? And any notes on that. So how much would I be selling to expect that much income, for example? And then same with expenses. If I'm looking to buy chemical, maybe I'm planning to spend this much on chemical. These are the chemicals I plan to buy. That's what this part is for. For the sake of this research project, maybe I'm doing non-cash expenses. So maybe Dad is just letting me use some extra seed that he has on hand. So I'm going to go to non-cash expense, seed and plants. I'm going to say I'm getting $50 worth of corn, seed, variety, whatever, and then the amount of seed. Okay. And then maybe Mom's letting me use part of her garden for the testing because we want to do a field trial, right? We don't want to make it as accurate to industry as possible, right? So we're going to do another non-cash expense. All right, so we're going to rent and lease. So maybe I'm looking at, it's going to be $300 for how big of an area from the garden. Okay, and then up here for income-wise, I'm not planning to make, I am planning to sell anything that does grow. However, that would be under, excuse me, because my research is not about the profit off of this test, I cannot put that here. If my SAE was on just growing corn, then I could. But because my SAE is research related and my research is only on germination, I cannot use the full production of that corn plant as a means of income for this SAE. I would have to put it under a different SAE type completely. Does that make sense? If it doesn't, talk to your advisor. So I'm going to hit save. So I have a plan how expenses are going to go. I've went through and identified my timelines, my skills, my basic project plans that I've sent out for signatures. So I'm ready to go. So hope that helps you out and good luck with your research.